Hi everyone, welcome back to Workshop. The photograph that you're looking at on screen I took on Sunday. I was down at the folks' house. We were raking about in an old garden shed on their property and I came across this box full of old CB gear. As you can see, I haven't seen this equipment in over 35 years. The last time I played around with it, and I'll just show you another photograph now, was back in 81, 82, 83. I think that photograph's probably about 1982. So quite a while ago. I thought this equipment was gone, but no, it's still going, although it's a mouldy old shed, and as you can see, time hasn't fared very well on this equipment. So there's one piece of equipment in the box, and that's the big Midland CB radio, and that CB radio I loved back in the day, really liked it. And in today's video I'm going to bring it onto the workbench. We're going to clean it up a little bit. I've already disinfected all the equipment, every single piece of it. You know, having septicemia a couple of years ago, I just don't take any chances. So I've given it a wipe down with some disinfectant, but it needs a little bit of another wipe down with some sort of cleaner just to get rid of all the dust and rubbish that's still stuck to the case, etc. So I'm going to do that now, bring it onto the workbench, and we're actually going to take a look inside the big Midland, and we'll see, in fact, if I can't get it up and running, at least see if I can get it powered up. I don't have a dummy load, I don't have an aerial set up at the moment, so I can't transmit, but I think we should manage to see if we can at least get it something coming out of it in some sort of receive mode, albeit no aerial. So let's get going. So there it is, it's a Midland model 76900 FM transceiver. Back in 1981 is when the UK government legalised CB radio on the 27 megahertz band and on FM. Prior to that, everyone was sort of operating illegally on 27 meg AM, but it was made legal on FM, and obviously this is one of the units that hit the shops, etc. Back in the day. A lovely base station, and we had it for quite a number of years, and actually I used to talk all over the world with this. Yes, it's only 4 watts, but I'm sure some of you that know your CB and RF stuff, that every 11 years something happened with the ionosphere and you would be able to transmit and bounce your 4 watts off of the ionosphere and down into another country. You would call it skip talking, i.e. you would be skipping your signal off the ionosphere maybe multiple times as far as I remember, and you could have a little conversation, short as it was, with somebody in another country, even from a 4 watt transceiver like this. So I used to do that. That was my sort of hobby at the time, and I used to build up QSL books full of QSL cards from all around the world. And then one day when we moved house, our hobbies took a different turn. We never bothered using the transceiver anymore, so all the CB equipment obviously got put in a box and thrown out into a shed, and there it sat, covering several house moves over 35 years. So this is it. It doesn't look too bad in the front. It could probably do with a bit more of a clean up. However, the underside is what concerns me. So if we just flip it up and have a look, yes, it's suffering a little bit of corrosion. It looks like it's been sitting at the bottom of a box. It's maybe got wet and it's corroded here. How far that's gone on inside the unit I don't know, but we'll take the cover off and we'll have a look. This is just superficial. I can obviously just rub this down and maybe repaint it, something like that, to clean it up, but it's what's going on inside that worries me. A couple other little bits and pieces. You know, it does look like it's worn a little bit there. This anodizing, it was pretty light anodizing, looks like it's come off of the alloy there. I think that's anodizing anyway, but and another thing, there was a button on this side. I used to modify every single CB radio that I owned and put in a beeper. I can't even remember what you call it. So when you let go of the key, it would do a double beep. or think this one maybe, now this is going back 35 years, but I think maybe when you hit this one it played the theme to Close Encounters or something like that, the tones. I can't remember, I just hit that and it would just play the tones across the air to the person at the other end. But we'll take a look at that as well. We'll take a look at my 35-year-old modifications inside. I think I was only maybe 17, 18 at the time, something like that. So let's take a look inside and see what we've got. Right, take the cover off. Like I said, I'm dubious about this shed that it was sat in for so many years, so I have rubbed it down with some disinfectant. I'll just turn it around, get the other side, and I've got a cloth down on the desk, because as you can see there's some bits and dirt and whatnot coming off onto my workbench. I don't really want to get it too dirty. Yeah, and some of these screws are a little bit corroded. There. This must be screwing into aluminium, because I can think it looks like it's got aluminium corrosion on it. Oh, got some screws in the back as well. I mean, if I do get it operational, I don't know what I'm going to do with it, because I don't even know if there's anyone to talk out there, bar truckers anymore in CB. Everyone's using phones these days, so who knows. Right, let's take a look inside. Right, I haven't been inside it, so we're doing this together. Couple of wires to my switch there, and well, it doesn't look too bad. It looks pretty fresh inside, and importantly I'm looking down into the bottom of the chassis there, and it's clean. It's not like there's a coating of rust all over it. Of course, this is an analog system, there's no microprocessors or anything inside it. It doesn't look too bad. I'm not seeing much corrosion at all on the actual heat sinks or any of the components on the PCB. Transformer, it's coated, so it won't be corroding. This looks like a bit of the power supply there, looks okay. I'm looking inside the back of the front panel, looks fine as well. It looks like the bottom can come off, so we'll take the bottom off and have a look on the underside. I think that's where my modification took place. God, look at that. Wow. There's some dodgy soldering on the back of that switch. I must have been in a hurry to get this thing operational when I added the board inside. So let's flip it over and take a look in the underside. Right, that's all the screws undone. So let's take a look at the inside of here. Wow. Well, the plate is perfect on the inside, so it just looks like it's the outside that's had some light surface damage, so we can fix that. Yeah. Let's zoom in for a closer look. So this here is my little add-on board that I just wrapped in sellotape and chucked in. Picked up some power supply somewhere, interfaced it into the keying system, and that enabled the Close Encounters sound, I think. But this here, I just don't remember that at all. Let's tip that up and have a look. We've got two 2N3055s mounted here. No, sorry. We've got one 2N3055 mounted here. That's my writing. And some heat sinks. So this was obviously getting hot. But what this was for, I just cannot remember. So we've got a couple of wires here. This is the 3 wires here, obviously going to the transistor. I can see the black wire here on the top side, and then we've got a yellow and green on the other side, and they're interfaced across to this side here. But what they're doing, this will be my modification, and we've got an inline fuse there. I'm wondering whether this was a unit I repaired and maybe it had a blown power transistor and I just replaced it with a 2N3055, because where the original transistor might have been mounted would have been directly onto that PCB over at this side here. So if we look at the other side again, see if we've got a missing transistor on that power supply. And we do. Take a closer look in there. So there we go. We've got a hole in the PCB, and it's marked with E and C for emitter and collector, and I presume that base will be somewhere. So it looks like maybe there's a faulty transistor at some point, and this was my repair, just chucking in a 2N3055, which must have worked. Oh well, I'm not going to touch that, I'm just going to leave that. So I think the next thing to do is I really want to unwrap this board here and take a little look inside it, and let's have a look and see if it is the Close Encounters board that I thought it was. To put you in the picture, my dad had a business in the hometown here back in 1981, and he used to import CB radios and distribute them right round Scotland to trade businesses. But we also had a shop as well, and I worked in the shop for a while before I got into the oil business. This board here is a little bit of corrosion there on this right angle bracket there, so this board hasn't fared too well. I mean, why I didn't just mount it on the side of the case somewhere? I mean, it's got an angle bracket on it, but I remember what I was like back in the day. It was a case of just get the thing running, let's have a laugh, you know. So that's what I would have done with the board. And the board is marked Nicole Electronics Guernsey, and there's a phone number as well, and it's got an SN76477, so I'm presuming that's a sound chip that you can program, and there's a couple of pots on it. What they do I do not remember. So I think one of the modifications we will do is mount this properly onto the side of the case somewhere. You know, I could tidy up all this wiring, but you know, in all honesty, I'm not going to bother doing that. I'm just going to get it operational. I'm going to get it reasonably set up, reasonably safe, and that includes mounting this board somehow or other, maybe in there somewhere on the side of the case, drill a couple of holes. It's obviously what it was designed for, with these angle brackets that are pop riveted on. Unfortunately, they've took a little bit of a hit with the corrosion, but we'll leave that. I'll make this safe because I do want to power it up first and see what happens. Let's take a chance. So first things first, I want to make sure that the input circuit, the mains input circuit's intact. So there's a push-pull here for power on, so pull for power on. We're getting nothing at all on the meter there. There's a fuse in the back. Or there was a fuse in the back. The fuse is gone. So it is half an amp. So I'll put in a half an amp fuse there and see what happens. I think somebody hopefully has just robbed the fuse for something else. Right, I've got half amp fuse, quick blow as it requests on the label on the back panel. So that's that. And let's try this again. There we go, 68 ohms. That's looking pretty good. No earth in this, so we'll just double check. No, it's insulated. That's fine. So we're looking good at the input circuit. So I'll away and put this into my quick block and then we'll power it up. Here we go. I don't have a mic plugged in yet, but I do have the one that we were using. Like I said, I've got the whole kit as per the photograph at the beginning of this video. So I can plug it in. So let's pull the power on. Channel 22. Yep, and channel selector's working. Oh, I've got a digit going in it though. Yep. We've got a digit going. I bet you I can just press that and it'll come. No. I should be able to fix that. That's right, it's got a built-in SWR meter, an RF meter, and a signal strength meter. Yeah, CBPA, a filter, high pass filter, something like that, I can't remember. And you had a dimmer for the display. That's at full brightness there now. Yeah, definitely got a digit going there. But we should be getting something out the speaker. Could be the squelch. Where's my volume? There we go. So this was the microphone I used to use with it, a Sertel bass mic. So it'll definitely work, but I'm not going to key it obviously because I've got no dummy load or antenna plugged in. No, that's not screwed up, never mind. Try again. Needs the mic. And the squelch is working. I've got no doubts this thing's going to work. You can tell between channel 1 and 40, difference in tone, so I think the receiver circuit's working. So there we go. So definitely I'm going to go ahead and do some sort of restoration on this thing. I want to get it up and running again, even if it means putting an antenna on the roof of the workshop to get it up and running. But I can easily put a mag mount or something on the roof of the workshop and run a cable in through the door and get it up and running, because I really would like to see if this thing transmitting and receiving, ideally even talking to somebody. So I'm definitely going to try that. I'm going to remount that transistor that I hacked on 35 years ago on the underside. I'll probably put some holes in the back of the case and mount it externally and run all the wires nice and neatly and sleeve them all and all the rest of it. The little board, I'm going to have to take off those L brackets and replace them with some new ones. I've got some, I believe, and I'll also mount that somewhere inside the case because I'd really like to see if that's working as well. But before I go for today, let's have a look at the rest of the stuff in the box and just to see exactly what I've got. The first thing we've got is a Superstar 2000. I never really use this one much, but my dad did. It's a sidebander, and he used to use it quite a lot, so I've no doubt this is probably working as well. It does seem to have a good bit of corrosion down here, so I think this has probably been sitting in a box like that maybe, but hopefully that's in the same state inside, i.e. it's good to go sort of thing. But yes, remember that one. We've got the Sertel mic here as I showed earlier. I've also got another bass mic. I think this is what I used to use with the Superstar 2000. This one was used with the Midland, and I think this one here was used with the Superstar 2000. Yeah, Yeah, Turner Expander 500. I don't think I really liked that one. I much preferred the Sertel because it was easy touch here rather than this one here. This one here was a lot more springier and needed a bit more force to get it down. This one here, it was really light to the touch. One there. This here I don't remember. This is a high gain. Yeah, I don't know what model number that is, but it's a high gain handheld. This will be a 40 channel FM radio as well. Volume squelch. High gain 40, I suppose that's what it was called. Yeah, it's been left in the on position. I presume the batteries are in a bit of a state inside it there behind this panel here. Antenna switches. This would have been used to select from the antenna on the roof of the house to both radios there. Yeah, number 1 Midland, number 2 sidebander, and 3 a dummy load. Ah, pity the dummy load wasn't still plugged in. It's been pinched a long time ago. So yes, that was used to select that. With a great big antenna on the roof of the house. We've got the original mic for the Superstar 2000, and we've got a couple of PL259s. Was that the number of those? I can't even remember that. A matching box here. Was that not used to trim SWR or something like that between the two radios because of the different coax lengths and different circuits coming into this box here? I think this is maybe on one of the circuits to allow you to trim it so that you could have both radios SWR'd perfectly. That's off the back of my head 35 years ago. I've got a metal plate here, not really sure what that's for. Oh, not really sure at all. And then we've got this here, a book. Like I said, on the Midland I used to talk around the globe, bouncing the signal off the ionosphere. So this is a QSL book, bits and pieces. I had a collection of photo albums with QSL cards in them. This is not one of those. This is just the bits and pieces that I had. Certificates that people would send you when you talk to them. So Ian Scott Johnston, 27th of August 1982. I'd obviously talked via the ionosphere to one of these guys in this here, and the same with this other ones here. 4th of January 1982. Where's that? I'm not even sure what that is. That's the Netherlands as well, actually. Some sort of registration form. Lifetime member of some radio group down in Nottingham. I can't even remember anything about that. And then it's just full of the same sort of thing. That's a bit of an odd one, but I don't remember what that is. Anyway, here's some notes here. Once when I was skip talking, as I said earlier, what I called it, on the 21st of August 1982, I talked to someone in Kiev in Russia by the name of Marco, and I made some quick notes at the time. I remember doing that. It's about the only conversation I had regarding that. Yeah. So there we go. So next video, hopefully we'll see the Midland in a bit better state. Hopefully with the underside all painted and it all sort of renovated, ready to go. Thanks for watching.